Come along with us on the first leg of Destination 22, a 5-day Catalina National Sailing Association cruise exploring the waters in and around Charleston, South Carolina. Boats and crews for the week are Shawnee, our 1986 swing keel, Ted and Dora aboard Rhapsody in Sea, Robert and Bonnie on Wingin' It, both new design wing keels. We met our cruising companions at Remley's Point boat landing about noon, in time to help with the rigging and launching of the boats. Cruising with other Catalina 22 sailors is always remarkable. There's nothing like watching the way experienced trailer sailors solve common problems. I'll bet you get some ideas just watching this clip.
Hey, more. Hey, wash your hand, right? Wash it. But I face it so I can go.
By attaching the winch strap to the furler drum, Ted is able to stabilize the foil when he raises the mast.
Got it?
It's a windy afternoon and the floating docks are a bit rolly. It was helpful to have a few extra hands on deck for the launching. The keel guide modification on Rhapsody's trailer has a dual purpose. It centers the boat when retrieving and protects the dinghy's bottom when launching Roxy. Both boaters use an extender on their trailers. When the tide is out, the drop-off is not very steep at Remley's, and a wing keel needs a bit of depth to float off the bunks. A suitable rock, tucked behind the back wheel of the trailer, gives some added stability when retracting the extender. The fixed wing keel requires higher bunks on the trailer, and for Robert, that presented a clever storage opportunity when trailering with the dinghy. The Cooper River County Park and Marina is home base for Destination 22. Marina manager James Fitzgerald was eager to welcome cruisers and was very accommodating. He arranged for our little fleet to be berthed together with easy access to the gangway and the main docks. Facilities at the marina include electricity and water at the floating docks, a picnic area, bathhouse, captain's lounge with laundry facilities, and a ship's store. Next morning we were up with the sun and prepping for the first leg of our cruise. We would sail through Charleston Harbor to Sullivan's Island, head up the ICW to anchor off the beach at Capers Island, an uninhabited barrier island some 15 miles north of Charleston. Entering the ICW at the Cove, we get a look at the ruins of a bridge that once connected Mount Pleasant to Sullivan's Island. Before 1929, beachgoers would take a ferry from Charleston to Mount Pleasant and then board a trolley to Sullivan's Island. A bridge carried the trolleys across Cove Inlet at the end of Pitt Street. Now pelicans hold court in the ruins of the Pitt Street Bridge, where the fishing is good near the pilings. On Sullivan's Island, the east-west streets are named for the former trolley stops, or stations. The Benkilo boat landing, located at Station 8, and Osceola Avenue on Sullivan's Island, is maintained by the fire department. We caught the firefighters in a training session when we passed by. A cormorant drying his feathers draws our attention to the air draft board for the Ben Sawyer Bridge. Shawnee clears the span with no trouble. We look back to see the other boats have too. Another reason we appreciate the Catalina 22. Just north of Sullivan's Island is the Isle of Palms, and this little inlet is always busy with the traffic from Isle of Palms Marina, Dweez Island Ferry, and the Wild Dunes Yacht Harbor, among other things. On this day, a southbound tug and barge made an unexpected left turn without regard for our little fleet motoring along at about 3 knots. I was taken aback, but the skippers took it in stride. Just beyond the Goat Island no-wake zone, and about the time you reach Dweez Inlet, the ICW opens up a bit, and the anxious motorboaters lose no time. We got rocked, but the white pelicans on a nearby sandbar are unfazed. At Green Marker 99, we turn right into Toomer Creek, minutes from Capers Island. Five hours after getting underway, we are preparing to drop the anchors. Bow anchor is in about 6 feet of water. We took the dinghies to the shore, planted the stern anchor at the beach, and got ready for a walkabout, and for me, a photo op. It was my hope to capture some photos of birds on the island. Capers is reported to be an outstanding birding site, with more than 294 species of migratory birds. I did not venture too far into the island, but we did see a number of shorebirds along the 214 acres of beachfront. I did see deer hoofprints in the sand, and a curious ghost crab posed for a few pictures. Capers Boneyard Beach, created by years of erosion, leaving a graveyard of dead trees, makes for some dramatic images too. Just as the sun was setting, we enjoyed a campfire on the beach and swapped stories with our cruising companions. But as soon as the sun was down, the cold air gripped us and we hurried back to the boat and the relative warmth of the cabin. Just before dawn, the captain took the dinghy ashore to check the stern anchor, and I watched the sun come up over the ocean. Caught a glimpse of a flock of white ibis rising over Dweez Island, embarking on their daily search for food. By 10 o'clock, our group had decided to weigh anchor and head back to the marina. Curious bottlenose dolphin dropped by to wish us fair winds. Donaghy took a brief detour along the south side of Capers Island to get a better look at the recently rebuilt dock. A boardwalk crosses the marsh to an unpaved nature trail where visitors are able to access the beach roughly a mile away. We motored along Capers Creek towards the northwest side of the island as far as we dared. The chart indicated low water and snags. So we turned around and made our way back to the ICW. One of the quirkiest places along the route is Goat Island, just across the waterway from the Isle of Palms. This somewhat primitive residential island with beach cabins, summer homes, and a handful of full-timers is only 2.5 miles long, and in some places it's barely wide enough to support a home, well, and septic tank. Most houses are tucked away in the trees. You can see the docks, and sometimes you see the strangest thing at the dock. This lifeboat from the U.S. Navy ship Yukon is unexpected. I don't know how it ended up at a dock at Goat Island, but I did learn that the ship, which has the dangerous job of replenishing other ships while underway, was involved in a collision with the USS Essex, a U.S. Navy amphibious assault ship. Both ships sustained minor damage and no injuries were reported, but the Yukon suffered structural damage to her flight deck, lifeboats, and davits. But whatever happened, you gotta admit it's a pretty cool vessel to have moored at the end of your dock. We made our way back through the ICW, sharing the waterway with commercial vessels like the Stevens tug Island Fox and the looper Snow Goose. Highlight of the return trip for me? Taking the helm as we motored under the Ben Sawyer Bridge. You could say I'm easily amused.
And live to tell the tale.
And you'd be right.